Welcome to Inspired Vinyasa. My name is Sandra, and I'd love for you to start by closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, and letting it go. Just sit there for a moment, eyes shut, breath soft. So I want to read you a quote. It's credited to Mark Twain, but there's a lot of controversy about that. But the quote is this: if the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that is probably the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long. I know it's not a very pleasant quote, but we're going to talk about it. As I said, it's credited to Mark Twain. I don't know, as I was searching the internet, Nicholas Chamfort, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, from the 1700s comes up as to having said, swallow a toad in the morning if you want to encounter nothing more disgusting the rest of your day. So very similar. Whoever said it, that's our theme for today. So take a deep inhale, cleansing exhale, and then inhale the arms up. Release the hands to the heart in prayer pose, and set your intention for your practice. And then go ahead and release the hands. So we'll take the fingertips to the earth, arms reaching out alongside of us, fingers walking as far away as they can. Close your eyes for a moment, sit up nice and tall. I want you to notice if you feel balanced. If you don't, do some adjusting. And then let's inhale that left arm up and over. And so you can come down as low as you want to on that right side. You can kind of meander into the stretch if you want. So this quote is about your to-do list. It's about picking the biggest and hardest thing on that list and doing it first, because after that, everything's cake, right? If we do all the easy things first, then the entire day is spent kind of dreading when we have to do that one big thing that we don't maybe really want to do. And so I was thinking about that with our yoga sequence. Go ahead, come back up, release that left arm. Inhale the right arm up, take it to the left. And coincidentally, I don't really like frog pose, Mandukasana. My hips are not thrilled with that pose, but since I chose this theme about, the frog, I figured that we will focus on frog pose, but we're going to do it at the beginning of our sequence to get it out of the way. After frog pose and its variations, for me, everything should be cake. Go ahead, come on back up. Release your arm. Inhale both arms. Exhale to the heart. So let's release the hands for a moment. Keep your eyes closed. And, if we were all together in person in class, I would have given you a slip of paper and I would have asked you to write down the pose that you least like to do in a vinyasa. So I just want you to think about what that is. And can you relate to the idea that it would be easier if I said we were going to do that pose right now, right off the bat, and get it out of the way, rather than tell you that's our peak pose and we're going to work our way towards that? Then you're kind of dreading it through the whole practice, right? And so I want you to think about your current world, what you have to do today or tomorrow, and what is the one big thing on that list that seems daunting. You don't really want to do it, but you know you need to do it. Let's get that to the forefront of the mind. And then inhale the arms up. Bring the palms together, release them back to your heart and prayer pose. Let's set another intention. We're adding on. And let's make our intention that whatever you just thought of, that's, you kind of don't want to do and it's kind of big, but we need to do it, that we're going to work on it first, today and or tomorrow. Because I don't know when you're watching this on YouTube. So if it's late at night, you're starting tomorrow. But can we move that to the forefront instead of procrastinating? That's going to be our intention. At least some steps towards it, right? Perfect. Okay, release the hands. So if you have a block, that would be fabulous. If you do not have a block, can you just look around and grab something that, might be of equivalent height? It's looks like roughly 3 inches. It could be a folded up blanket. It could be a pillow, anything you have that we can use to make our poses just a little bit easier. So what I want to do is I want to take the right leg off to the side. So I have the top of my foot tucked against the earth. And then I want to take this left foot and let's see about bringing that foot up towards the right hip. So right into the groin crease. Now, if your right knee doesn't like this, let's not do that. Let's get that leg going across and we can still work on bringing that top foot up, right? So practicing ahimsa. Remember, I'm just offering suggestions. You certainly don't have to follow. And then do you notice how, so my left knee right now is kind of hanging in space. And yeah, I could get it down to the ground, but I can feel that's tipping me to the left a little bit. It's not super comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable. But I want to make this better. So I'm going to take my block and I'm going to put it right underneath that left knee. That feels more comfortable to me, hopefully to you as well. All right, so this is where we're headed. If you have a strap, it would work. It's fine. If you don't have a strap, don't worry about it. Not totally necessary. I am going to try to work you into a little bit of a bind. So yeah, maybe the strap might help you if you can't get all the way around, but let's see what it is first. So right hand is coming across to the left knee. I want to sit up really tall here because then I have more room to turn, and I'm turning to the left. So you can place that left hand down and use that as leverage to just slowly work your way into this twist. And let's just kind of move in and out of it since we're just starting, just warming up the spine. Just keep moving as you need to. I can feel the bones in my back just cracking each time I twist. So apparently I need some warming up here. All right, this is where we're headed. When you find the deepest point of that twist and you can hold it, option A is to stay exactly as you are. Option B is to take the left hand and bring it around behind your back. And then I want to see if I can grab on to the toes or the top of the left foot. I had to look down and see which foot was over there. Okay, so this is where the strap might come in handy. If your hand cannot grab onto the foot, which you could do, and of course it doesn't have to be a strap, it could be anything, dog leash or something. You could put that around the left foot and then grab onto the strap with the left hand behind you. Yeah, so totally up to you. If you have nothing nearby that resembles a strap, you could just leave the hand in limbo behind you. You could grab onto your shirt. So don't panic. However this works out for you is good. And this is a pretty challenging pose, right? So as I alluded to, we're going to get the challenging frog variations out of the way. And this isn't even frog. We're just warming up for some of that. But the challenging poses first, and then we'll float through the rest of the sequence. All right, how are you feeling here? Give me a deep inhale. Let go of the breath. Deep inhale. Slowly release the pose. And let's take the twist all the way to the other side. You can grab on wherever you need to. That should feel like a relief. And then let's come back to center. I'm going to free my top leg, move that block, free the right leg. Hug both knees in for a moment. Let the chin rest on your knees. Close your eyes. All right, let's try the other side. So left shin coming down alongside you, if that's okay with your knee. If it's not, again, take that leg straight across. Right foot up towards the left hip. You'll notice again that the tendency is for this right knee to just kind of hang in space. And while you may be able to push it and get it down to the ground, there's really no added benefit in doing that when we have a block nearby. So go ahead and slide something underneath that right knee. Okay. Left hand to the right knee, right hand behind you, sit up tall, and let's just meander into this twist. I want you just to slowly work your way in the twist, work your way back out. Okay, when you feel like you have warmed up the spine a bit, I want you to sit up tall. Take that twist as far as it'll go. Hold it right there. Option A, stay there. Option B, bring the right arm behind you and see if you can grab on to the right foot. Or, again, leave the arm in limbo behind you. Grab your shirt. Use a strap. And just thinking to yourself, you're just getting the frog out of the way. Big inhale. Cleansing exhale. Inhale again. Exhale, release the pose. Set your legs free. Hug them in. Close your eyes. Okay, so go ahead and move that block off your mat if it is there. And then let's come on over into table. Let's find cat-cow for a moment. And hopefully that feels good after the twists that we did. Frog pose is more about the hips. Definitely a hip opening pose. But there are aspects or variations of frog where we don't necessarily have to open the hips. And we're going to start with that one in a moment. All right, let's come back to a neutral spine. Tuck the toes. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Walk it out. Deepen the breath. And then slowly bring the knees back to the earth. Bring the feet in towards each other, wiggle the knees in towards each other, and then go ahead and sit back. All right, so what I want you to do is, you pick whichever hand you want to do this with. I want you to make a fist, but I want you to tuck the thumb inside of the fist. And then that fist goes right to the navel. My other hand, I'm just going to rest it on top. So I want to sit up really tall and slight pressure of the fist against the navel as you roll or hinge forward and bring the head down towards the mat. Okay, so if the head doesn't make it to the mat, slide something over for your forehead to rest on. A pillow would be great. I think each of us is going to experience a different level of comfort, maybe a slight discomfort with the fist being pushed into the abdomen like that. But I just want you to breathe into your hands. And so this is one variation of Mandukasana, frog pose. Manduk means frog, asana, pose. And this is the one I was mentioning where we keep the hips closed. And then go ahead and slowly make your way back up. Release the hands, come to table. From table, modified plank. So take the hands forward just a little bit. Hips between the shoulders and knees, shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Right into cobra. Downward facing dog. Strong breath in. Loud exhale. Knees come back to the earth. And go ahead and sit back. So you might want your block for this next thing we're going to do too. It's going to depend on your knees primarily, also your quads, how tight your quads are. And so I want you just to lift your hips up off your heels and then take the feet wide. We're going to see about sitting down on the mat. So I already know that I felt a little tight doing this morning. My knees weren't thrilled with this. And so if you get here and there's any issues going on with the knees, grab your block and sit on that instead. There's no benefit to tweaking the knees for sure. So if you look down, you'll see your knees straight out in front of you. You should see your feet off to the side. So we're starting to resemble that kind of goofy look to a frog's leg, right? Inhale the arms up. Exhale to the heart. Release the hands down in front of you, and then we can slowly walk our way down. Let's just get to the forearms here. Close your eyes. And so this isn't even a full extreme frog pose. I already don't like this, which is why it goes perfectly with the theme, right? Get it out of the way, move on to things I do appreciate better. But what I want you to be thinking about is the symbolism of a frog. When a frog shows up as a sign in your world, it usually indicates it's a time of change for you. So we can think about the metamorphosis that a frog goes through from tadpole and up. But the significant part of the change is this. Maybe this quote I have for you would be best to tell you first. A frog in a well cannot conceive of the ocean. The frog that's in the well, in order to ever conceive of that ocean, is going to have to jump out, right? So the symbolism is this. If you're experiencing a time of change in your world, it's not going to be a small step. You are going to have to take a leap of faith. At some point, there is a jump that needs to occur to get you to where you want to be. So go ahead and make your way back up. If you have that block underneath you, go ahead and slide it out. Let's come back to table. So are you in the midst of change right now? Downward facing dog. Go ahead and lift the heels, bend the knees, take the gaze forward to your hands. And symbolizing what I just told you, we are going to make the jump to forward fold. So look at the space between your hands. That's where we want the feet to end up. If you're thinking no way in hell, then go ahead and take a big step. It's totally fine. When you're ready, forward fold. Let's just hang out here for a moment. Follow your breath. Let's inhale, take this to monkey. Exhale back down. Bend into the knees so that you can plant the hands. Guess what? The feet are going back to where they came. We're jumping back to plank. If you don't want to make the jump, one big step will do. So when you're ready, go ahead. Now, chaturanga. Into cobra. Downward facing dog. Perfect. All right, go ahead and bring the knees down, take them wide. We're looking to set up child's pose. So bring the feet in towards each other, knees are wide, and then push the hips back and soften the heart. And what I want you to think about here is that child's pose is very close to frog. We only have to make one little shift here to get into frog pose, but I want to make sure we're comfortable right here in Balasana. And so I want you to really stretch the arms forward and then use the hands to push the mat away. Can you get the hips to come down any lower towards your heels? And then you might want to slide the hands back in just a little, get under the forearms for a second. Can you get the knees out wider? So let's get the knees out a little bit wider than they were. And now let's come on back down into child's pose. Give me a deep breath. Let it go. I'm going to slide my forearms back in. Can you take the knees any wider? So this is going to be the extreme. Take them as wide as you can. And I also want to incorporate a couple other ideas here. If you can come all the way down and your forehead touches the ground, fine. If you're thinking not unless the earth rises, then could you grab something and put that underneath your forehead again so that you aren't hanging out in space. And let's just see where we can end up. What I want you to think about trying, if your neck is okay with it, is once you slide down, can you get your chin to the mat instead of the forehead? So see what you think. As always, I really need you to pay attention to your body. Please do not do anything that puts you in pain. You know, discomfort is different from pain, or you don't like the pose. That's totally different. I already told you I don't like frog pose, but we're doing it anyway. So we'll see where we end up. This I find is kind of comfortable. So see what you think. And then let's take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, go ahead and start to push your way back up. I'm sure those legs are ready to be pulled back in towards each other. So go ahead and pull them in. And let's just take this to embryo for a moment. And then inhale, come all the way up onto the knees, take the arms up. Exhale them to the heart. Release the hands down into table. So what changes do you have going on currently? Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. If you had to make a big jump to get to where you want to be within the context of that change, where does that jump take you? What do you have to do? Take that right foot forward. Let's find our low lunge. Anjanasana. Sink into this. Hands to the heart. You can just drop the chin down. I want this to be more about deepening into the hips. Release the hands. Come on back to table. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Big inhale. Exhale. Left foot forward. Drop that back leg. Anjanasana when you're ready. And then hands to the heart, gaze down so we can focus more on deepening into the hips than worrying about where the arms are. Good. Release the hands. Take the knees back towards table. Modified plank. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Give me 3 deep breaths here. And then release the knees. Untuck the feet. Let's take the knees to the width of the mat again. So not super extreme. Toes towards each other. And then go ahead and set the hips back down. And so another variation that we could do is as you bring your head down to the ground, make sure your head's resting on something. I don't want to do this if your head's just hanging out in space. So if you need a prop to rest your head on, that's fine. But I also need you to feel how comfortable you are if we were to take the arms behind us. Because I know when we have the arms forward, a lot of our support is in the arms. If you can take the arms back and grab onto the heels, you would find yourself in another variation of Mandukasana. If that's not going to happen, I don't want a lot of strain on the neck. If the forehead's resting on a block and a lot of the weight was in the arms, and then you reach back and now you feel like it's just your neck and your head holding you up, not good, not even worth it. So if you feel like you're okay and you want to reach back, grab the heels, fine. If that doesn't feel right, keep the arms forward. Perfect. Okay, walk the hands in. Let's get Mandukasana out of the way so everything else just easily slides into place, right? Okay, so we're kind of there. Bring your hands back forward so you can get your hips off of your heels. We need to get the knees wide, and then you need to widen out the feet so that the ankles are in a straight line with the knees. Does that make sense? Okay, now the knees start to slide out wider. Oops, I'm hitting the wall over here and my strap. So you take the knees out as wide as you can go. The feet follow. So this time the feet are not angling in towards each other. The ankles are right in line with the knees. Feet flail out. Toes flail out to either side. Okay, that's your frog leg. Now, once you get as far as your hips are going to go, and your knees can't widen anymore. Let's come on down to the forearms. Take a deep breath here. And you can hang out right here if you want to, or you can come down lower. You can try to bring the head down. And so you'll notice when you bring the head down to the ground, the head is lower than the heart and the hips, right? Kind of like it is, in downward facing dog. And remember, the Sanskrit for downward facing dog is Adho Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha, downward facing. And so when we're in this variation of frog, it's Adho Mukha Mandukasana, downward facing frog. Now, we're going to hang out here for a moment because this is a hard pose. I don't like it. My hips don't like it. I need to get this out of the way so everything else is perfect. But if you're really struggling here, you could take a block and slide it down under your thighs to hold you up for some support if this is just too much, or back the knees out a little bit. All right, find your happy place. And then to get out of this pose, get your arms underneath you so you're sustaining some of that weight on the arms. Bring the feet back in, toes back in towards each other, and then you can start to sit back. And as you make your way back, you can get the knees to come in, and let's get them all the way in. Oh, yay, we're done with that pose. Inhale the arms up, exhale to the heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Now, if that was your favorite pose, you probably aren't going to think everything else that follows is better, but I'm trying. So let's go to table. Downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Big exhale. Come on forward into plank. Chaturanga. Bhujangasana, cobra. And then exhale, just release down here for a moment. So grab your block again. I want to take that block between my thighs. Get comfortable. All right, and squeezing in on that block. You can bring your chin or your forehead to the ground. Hands are behind you. We're going to take them to yoga mudra, so palms together, interlace the fingers. Slide the shoulder blades in as you straighten out the arms. Squeeze that block. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And lift the upper body into half locust. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Do not forget to breathe. And on an exhale, release and relax for a moment. And squeeze on the block. When you're ready, re-engage and lift. When you get to an exhale, release and relax. One more. Squeeze really hard. Lift. And then you can lift the legs too if you want, but keep squeezing that block. Nice. Big inhale. Exhale. Come on down. Grab that block. Move it aside. And just let go for a moment. All right. Plant the hands. Push your way back up into table. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Come back to a neutral spine. I'm going to take the left leg, I'm going to send it out behind me, and then I'm going to open the hips so I can come onto the inner edge of that back foot. The right knee, I'm just going to slide it forward a little bit more toward my hands. The right hand is going to move to directly in front of my, I should say in line with my right knee. It's not directly in front. It's still underneath my shoulder, but I moved it over in front of the right knee. And then here, we're just going to slowly open up that left arm. We're taking this to supported side plank. If this is super wobbly for you, take the right foot and bring it further out behind you. All right, lengthen. I want you to lengthen from the left foot to the top of the head. Hips are moving forward. That top shoulder is back, right? It shouldn't be dropped in front of you, hopefully. If the shoulder's so tight that it can't open up, you could try doing different things with that left arm, like maybe to the hip, so that we can get the shoulder to rotate backwards. All right. I want you to take your focus to the sole of the left foot. I want it to feel really grounded. Option A, stay right here. Option B, the right hand pushes the earth away so we can get that right leg to straighten out as well. So we're in full Vasisthasana. And you could take that left arm overhead if you want. Oh, I hear you right now. This is easier than frog pose. I guess it's all perspective, right? Left arm back up. Rotate to plank. Chaturanga. Although, if you will have noticed, this camera angle isn't as wide as it usually is, and that is because I'm never going to make you fully stand up. So see, it's a little bit of give and take. We haven't stood up, right? We were just in forward fold. We went to monkey. So we're staying pretty earthy and low. Big inhale. Exhale, drop the knees. Find your cat-cow for a moment. When you're ready, neutral spine. We're going to take that right leg straight out, tip onto the inner edge of that foot so you can start opening up the right hip. And then when you're ready, you'll take that right arm up. Hips are moving forward. Again, do what you need to. So essentially, I can't see my right shoulder, so we want it dropped back a little bit. You could plant that right hand on the hip if that makes life easier. Take your focus to the sole of the right foot that's against the earth. Option A, stay right here. Option B, straighten out that left leg. Side plank. We'll take that right arm overhead. Bring the arm back up. Rotate to plank. Chaturanga. Cobra. Right into child's pose, Balasana. And just melt right there. Okay, so we were talking about the symbolism of a frog. The other part of that symbolism I want you to think about is that frogs live in water. And the symbolism of water is cleansing, it's purifying. And so we need to make the jump. In doing so, there has to be this cleansing because we can't make the jump with all of our current baggage. And so there is a release. There is a letting go. You're going to have to leave something behind. It could be old beliefs, old behaviors, old thoughts, whatever it is. You have to leave that behind so that we aren't weighted down with it. We want this jump to be complete, right? And so what do you need to do? What do you need to let go of? Okay, deep inhale. Big exhale. Go ahead and come on back up into table. Grab your block again. Let's put it out in front of you. I'm not exactly sure where you're going to need it, so we'll figure that out in a moment. Downward facing dog. And then I want to just kind of start looking where that block is. I'm going to drop the left knee. The right foot is coming forward. I want to get it on that block. So as I eat my hair, we already did Vinyasa, right? We're doing it on the block. And so what I need to think about is, well, yeah, my foot made it to the block, but I don't have room here to drop my hips. So I'm going to need to back up my left leg. When you have your balance, let's go ahead and just rest the hands or elbows on that front thigh for a moment. Let's just feel this and breathe into it. If it's too much, take the block away. All right, option A, stay right here. Option B, arms up, little back bend. Deep in the breath. Nice. Bring the hands together, offer them to the heart. And then left hand or left fingertips most likely can come down to find the ground. Let's just see if we can get that right arm to open up toward the ceiling. Soften the hips. Our hips are going to be loving us after this. And then go ahead and release the right hand. Start pulling the hips back so you can get this right foot off of your block. Take it to embryo for a moment. Okay, come on back up into table. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. So again, I want to start to come out of dog so I can see that block. I want to put the right knee down so that I can move that left foot forward and land it on the block. And then again, I need to see, do I have room to drop my hips? I do not. So I need to scooch my right knee back, find your balance. Come on up when you're ready. Oh, come on. It's not harder than frog, right? It could be as hard, but not harder. Take the arms up. Anjanasana. Bring the hands to the heart. Right fingertips to the earth. Left arm up. Notice if you took your hips back up to get here. Can we bring them back down? Inhale. Exhale the hand down. Pull the hips back so that you can free this left leg. I think it's time to come to the mat. What do you think? All right, let's sit down. Come all the way onto your back. Hug the knees in. Focus on your breath here. I read this funny quote. It was something like, frogs are lucky because they get to eat what bugs them. And so I want you to think about, you're being gifted the opportunity to leave behind the things that are bugging you, the things that are weighing you down, so that you can make that leap forward and it's effortless. All right, go ahead and set the feet down on the earth. Let's align the body here for bridge. And then we're going to change bridge. It might be a little crazy, we'll see, but go ahead and lift the hips up when you're ready. And on your next exhale, come on down. I'm going to take my left foot and shift it to the right about an inch. I'm going to take my right foot and see if I can bring it up on top of my left, knee to thigh. I have the foot flat on my thigh. My right knee is pointing towards me. So this in itself might be difficult to get to. If it is, maybe it would work with the right heel on the left knee so you have more space between you and the leg. If this really is not going to happen, then go ahead and take the right leg into your supine pigeon position, taking the knee out to the side. Either way, we're coming up into a one-legged bridge, so let's see where this goes. Keep breathing. On an exhale, make your way down. Take that right leg, stretch it up to the ceiling. And then use the hands. I have my interlace behind the right thigh. As I lift my head and shoulders, I want to move my hands up. So wherever they end up for you, but let's see if we can get the head and the knee to come a little closer to each other. And then gently release. So replant the feet hip distance apart, and then take the right foot, wiggle it to the left about an inch. Let's get that left foot up on top of the right knee or out to the side if you prefer that in pigeon. When you're ready, inhale, lift up. On an exhale, come back down. Take the left leg up to the ceiling. And then lift the head and shoulders, start walking the hands up the leg. Get a good stretch. And gently release. Arms overhead, straighten out the legs, big stretch. And then the legs are going to walk to the left. Once they're as far as they can go, upper body wiggles to the left. And we're going to hold it right here. Slow, deep inhale. Slowly exhale, bringing the body back to center. When you're ready, walk the legs over to the right. And then the upper body. And just hold it right there. Slow, deep inhale. As you exhale, bring the body back to center. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bring the arms back down alongside you. And just pause right here. So I read you a quote by Zhuangzi that said, "A frog in a well cannot conceive of the ocean, but you can." And so in doing so, I know that you can start to figure out what the jump is that you need to take to get to that ocean view. We're going to hug the right knee in. Take your supine twist to the left. I decided to leave my right arm down alongside my body, but you certainly can take it straight out or into scarecrow. Wait for an inhale to roll back and release that right leg. And when you're ready, go ahead and pull the left knee in. Supine twist to the right. On an inhale, come back to center. Exhale, release that left leg. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. And now's the time for you to set up for Shavasana. You might already find yourself there, unless there's some props you want or your fuzzy socks. And I want you to think about this. If you had a tough time getting to your yoga mat today, you just knew you had to do it, you didn't really want to, and you're just thinking whatever you think, that you're at Shavasana now and you're almost done, I want you to realize you've already swallowed your frog, right? If it was super hard for you to do your workout today and to make it to the mat, it is now done. You're sliding into Shavasana. You're almost done with the class, right? And so that big thing on your to-do list just got a check mark. And so everything after that is all good. So close your eyes if you haven't already. Feel the body weighting down, settling into your mat. Think about the symbolism we talked about of the frog. You know, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to be cleansed of by the water? Where do you need purification in your life? And, you know, once you figure that out, I think the jump is a lot easier. All right. Enjoy Shavasana. You'll know when it's time to come out when you hear my voice. As you bring your focus back to your breath, send a little love and compassion to the hips and the hip flexors. We worked them quite a bit. But just think how much more prepared they are to make that jump that you need to make. Sending them love and light. And then deepening the breath, inviting movement back into the body. And then go ahead and hug the knees into the heart. You might want to rock from hip to hip. And when you're ready, just tip on over into a fetal position. And then gently push your way back up to any seated pose that makes you happy. Strong inhale through the nose. Loud exhale through the mouth. And then inhale both arms up. Bring the palms together and release them back home to your heart in prayer pose. The light in me bows to the light in you. And when I'm in that place in me and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste.